guess what? Flying back and forth between New York and LA, the entertainment business is the least fair thing in the world next to politics, right? So I believe in my heart of heart, I agree with you. I don't know if doing this interview with Bethenny was, but so it's like, here's the difference between Nene and Bethenny. I think Bethenny, before she said reckoning, and is doing all this, you have to look at her new Instagram post. I believe Bethenny said, wait, I want to go back for 5 million. They're not letting me. They want me to go back for 1 million or whatever. I don't want that. And eventually she pitched a new show. And eventually Bethenny said, it's over, Bethenny. She said to herself, she looked in the mirror because she knows it all, remember? And she said, it's over. It's just, face it, time of death. You will never be back on Bravo on your terms. It's over. And then she's balls to the walls reckoning. So I believe Bethenny knows she'll never be back on Bravo. I think that Nene, to your point, where is CAA? Like, to me, if I were her agent, I would have said, if you believe all this racism and all these claims, go for it. You can do what you think is right if that's going to help you sleep at night, but you will never be back on TV. That's what I would have said. And so I would have said, take a week, take 2 weeks, take a month. I'm not saying it's right, people. I'm just saying if I were giving her advice, I would say you have 2 choices. Get the fuck over it. It was racism, whatever it was, put it under, sweep it under the rug, just like everyone else, and Me Too, and everyone who doesn't say things, and go on and work, or speak out and do what you feel is right so you're able to sleep at night as a person. But if you do what's right, it could cost you your TV career. It's up to you. I mean, you talk to Rose McGowan. She wrote a whole book on it. She swears that her opportunities are gone. Thanks to
they
her.
are. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure they are. There's who is going to want to hire one of the biggest advocates of Me Too? They should.
And we're not saying, right, they should. But
that's not how these companies work. It's just not,
Listen, I have a situation very similar. I've been approached by a major housewife to do something in the podcast space, probably on this podcast. And I'm not probably going to do it. Because Behind the Velvet Rope is a network. The Sarah Fraser Show is a network. I work with Catherine. I work with Melissa Rivers. I work with you. The minute someone is too high maintenance or too much for the corporate machine here, I can't work. You're useless to me. It doesn't work. The train is leaving. So someone has actually, and it would be probably a whole disaster when all was said and done. And so that is the thing. It's like, if you have someone like, who's going to hire Bethenny and say, hey, Bethenny's people, the contract is sent over. She hasn't signed it. No, Bethenny's going to say, okay, no, hold on, reckoning, cross this. Nobody is going to put a contract out to have that happen. They're going to say, sign the contract, remove one clause, and let's go, babe. Right? That's how it works. No?
I have 2 follow-up questions, and then I know we'll move on because we have like a million things to get to. But one was, what did you make of when Nene says, because Bethenny did ask her a question like, well, does anyone back your story, essentially? And Nene said, yeah, in text messages, which to me implied like people, she didn't use the name Kenya or anyone, but it was kind of implying that a lot of the women of color on the show backed what she said via text, but would not go on record saying that. I mean, for a major lawsuit like this, can't you deposition people? Can't you because my thing is, how is she going to prove? Okay, to me, I look at this franchise, right? And I think what the amazing part is about this is Andy literally resurrected women's careers over 40. Our girl Garcelle famously said in Hollywood, and so did Renna, once you were 40, that was it. You were done. Bravo has single-handedly made women over the age of 40 stars, millionaires of all different colors. I mean, look at Candy. Now, Candy was a millionaire, I'm sure, when she came into it, but Candy's a multi-million millionaire from it. Kenya's probably a millionaire from it. I mean, I think Robin, our girl Rob Robin's probably on her way to being a millionaire. I mean, with her hat.
That Robin Dixon, man, she is holding on, and do not count her out, man.
Candy Gal is now launching a music career and probably a millionaire. I mean, to me, I see this. Now, again, I had a lot of empathy when the women said, Nene and Bethenny said, look, the show is exhausting. It's so much work. I agree. And the general public doesn't realize, because you think, oh, it's glamorous. They're just coming into your house. you and I know, because we've worked in television, it's so much more than that. It's production coming to you with meetings and when you're going to go to this party and say this and do this and go after this person. It's exhausting, right? Long nights, early mornings. But can't she, okay, so to get back to my point, I mean, how does she get people, doesn't she need witnesses like to corroborate her story? Like, and can't she call these housewives that she says won't go on record?
Well, we don't even really have a lawsuit now. I mean, we didn't get that far, right? The whole thing is over. I mean, whatever they're trying to work out, I don't really.
Okay, so now it's just
know.
a settlement. I guess you're right, right? It's not really a lawsuit.
That's, I mean, I have my own thoughts on that. Is there really a piece just lingering? I mean, she keeps saying there is. Really?
Well, I kind of agree with you, because if there's a piece lingering, why are you doing a podcast? Aren't you
I don't
hurting yourself?
I don't believe it. That's just me. I don't believe it. I think it's over. It's over. It's over. And you know, and that is the difference. You know, Vicky's thing was quiet, and however it worked out. I mean, that's what it is. You know, look, she says she felt retaliated against. I love how Nene turned the question around and said to Bethenny, do you feel retaliated against since you're reckoning? I mean, the only thing I don't know if so here's another thing I took away. Like, Bethenny acts like, look, she was on the show. She does a lot of the same thing that we do here, exposing the real way things work. But my whole thing is she's so like shocked, like we're revealing everything. Like, it is combative. It's you know, a bad behaviors, like everything she's saying. It's like, no shit. Like, what is your point? Like, you're not gonna expose, like, she's not gonna appeal to the woman that is 42 right now, that is sitting home in Salt Lake and is saying like, oh, you know, I think that Whitney Rose is on her last leg and maybe I'll be replacing her next season. I'm not saying that about Whitney, but you understand that the girl in the middle of nowhere in New Jersey who's like, I can do what fucking Rachel Fuda's doing. Whatever Bethenny is saying, like, I think people know that is the so it's like, my whole thing is like, what do you want? You said you didn't want to talk about all this forever. Now you're talking about it nonstop. Like, you're not going to have an aha moment with these people. Everyone knows what Housewives is. It is bad behaviors rewarded, and it's bitter and table flips and wig pulls. And what is your point? Like, are you trying to warn people about what they're getting into? I don't know. Don't people know what they're getting into at this point?
Oh, it's over a decade old. Yeah, I think people do, for sure.
So that was that, you know, and then, so yeah, they're retaliated against. I didn't really understand. You think that because then when they got into Andy and when she was like, you know, I was protecting him and I realized he wasn't protecting me. Now, and Nene was like, ding, ding, ding. You think that they secretly want to be best friends with Boss Man? Really?
I think, well, look, I mean, I don't know if you've been there in a work environment, but I have with people that, you know, were in more positions of management that I thought we were good friends. I always tell you, you know, the best advice that I didn't believe that I got was when I was hired on the Kane show. Kane said to me after 2 weeks, congrats, it's not show friends, it's show business. And I thought, oh, no, I mean, we're friends. You're inviting me over to your house. You bought